Today I want to continue the discussion on grieving. It's a sensitive discussion because I think at some level in the back of the minds of unfaithful spouses, there can seem as though there's this hidden message of me trying to say, look, you got to get over this. Please understand, there is no message there. There is no thought. There is no intention there. It is about getting you through it because you've got to get through it. I mean, your kids, if you have kids, depend upon you getting through it. Your marriage, if your marriage is going to be restored, depends upon you getting through it. The rest of your life and the great things that are in store for you depend on you getting through this. So there is the message littered throughout everything that I do, which is you've got to get back up, and number two, you've got to get through it. And so grieving is a way to get through this incredible trauma and find new life. But today I want to talk about a couple of roadblocks to grieving. I want to talk and discuss some of the ways that grieving is stalled and what grieving actually can help us discover and do. One of the biggest roadblocks to grieving, I think, is we get stuck in denial. For the unfaithful, we get stuck in denial for what we've done and what it's cost you, the betrayed. We just don't want to grieve for what we've done to ourselves or certainly to our spouse, and so we kind of deny that we've hurt you as bad as we have. The betrayed gets stuck in denial because at some level, it's common for the betrayed spouse to cry out with a mentality of, I want my old life back. I hate my new reality. I want my old life. I don't want this life. I don't want this. I don't want this. This sucks. This is miserable. I hate this, and I hate you, and I hate everybody else, and I hate my life, and so you get stuck. There's a quote that says it's exhausting to fight against reality. And I think there's a point where you have to come to the realization that the reality is your old life is gone forever. You're not going to be able to get it back. It hurts like hell, but you can't get it back. This is the new life that you've been handed, and that's part of grieving, which is the moment where you come to a realization that you're willing to accept what you've been given and now pursue new life in the new reality that you've been dropped into. Your retort is, yeah, Samuel, I've been dropped from 100,000 feet without a parachute and without goggles or earplugs, and I'm free falling. I get it. But what I want to encourage you with is that it's not always going to be this bad. It's not always going to hurt this bad, and you're not always going to be free falling at this speed. But one of the ways that you stop the free fall is you begin to work through the stages of grief, and you come to the realization that you can't keep wanting your old life back, and you can't get stuck on that step. You've got to begin to embrace what you have as a life and to begin to now start to work with what you've been given. I think as long as you keep saying, this is terrible, this is bad, I want my old life back, I don't want to be here, we shouldn't be here, you did this, and we continue to lash out because it's easier to get mad than it is to get sad. And so we'd rather be mad and get stuck on, I want my life back, I shouldn't be here, we shouldn't be here, you did this shouldn't be happening, we shouldn't be having to go through all this and spend all this money and do all this pain and pain management and do all these things, we shouldn't. Yes, I know you shouldn't, but you have two choices right now. You can remain stuck, or you can say, you know what, I don't know what's going to become of this, but I do know what I can do right now, which is accept my reality and begin to not judge whether this is going to result in good or bad, but to simply say, I am wide open to getting the help that we need, to moving forward and getting through this. I remember the serenity prayer, which is, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. The problem is, we get stuck. One of the struggles is we want to change the things we need to accept, and we want to accept the things that we need to change. We start accepting things that we really should change. We start accepting a level or quality of life that we should be willing to be courageous and brave about and start to either demand change, either in ourselves or in our spouse, or demand change in the environment that we're in. That might be as a result of our choices or our spouse's choices. But sometimes we end up accepting what we should be doing all that we can to change. And then alternatively, some things we want to change when we really should accept them. We want to change what's happened. We want to change what we've gone through, but we can't. We have to accept where we're at and what we're having to walk through. And it becomes infuriating because you say, well, what do I change? What am I supposed to change? I can't change my spouse. I know, but here's some of the things that you can change. Number one is you can change your attitude. And I've had to do that more times than I'll ever be able to communicate in these blogs. I've had to change my attitude. I've had to stop judging it, and I've had to open up my arms and say, okay, I don't know if this is good or bad, but I want to get through it, and I want to find out what's on the other side of this. You can't always change what your spouse does or says, but you can change your attitude about it. Number two is you can change your response. You can change the way you're going to respond. There's a lot of stuff on the website that will help you. There's some stuff in my video blogs to help you change the way you're responding to your spouse, because at some level there comes a point where you have to decide you're going to say, you know what, I'm not going to stay stuck. I'm not going to keep doing this. I'm going to grieve my way through it, which means I'm going to start changing some of the ways I respond. Number three is you can begin to change the voices that you listen to. You know, there's 5 stages to grief. We've talked about them before, but the final stage, I think, some people say this, some people don't, but it's the stage of transformation where you say, you know what, I'm going through all of this to find the transformation that's going to be available for me. I'm going to allow my life to be transformed. I'm going to allow my marriage to be transformed. I'm going to insist that transformation happens one way or another.